Inelastic demand is one of the responsiveness of price elasticity of demand. And inelastic demand is defined as for any bigger change in the price of the product, there will be a smaller change in the quantities demanded in the market. So for any bigger change in the price of the product, there will be a smaller change in the quantities demanded in the market. And the price elasticity of inelastic demand is always less than 1. And if you draw your graph of inelastic demand, make sure that the change in price is always bigger than the change in quantity. So as you can see in the graph, I've drawn my graph, although this graph is not accurate. So I have my Q1 and my Q2, then I have P1 and P2. So when you draw a graph, make sure your P1, the difference between P1 and P2 is larger than that of Q1 and Q2. So I'll give an example of inelastic demand of a product. So if we imagine that the initial price of the product in the market is 100 kwacha and the initial quantity of the product is 50 kwacha, so we can call those as P1 and P2. And after changing the price of the product to 500 kwacha, which will be our P2, and we see that there is a change in quantity to 40 units, that will be our Q2. We can calculate the price elasticity of this product. So we say EP is equals to change in Q over change in P multiplied by P1 divided by Q1. So our first thing that I'm supposed to do is to find the change in Q and the change in P. So the change in Q is equals to Q1 minus Q2. My Q1 is 50 units minus my Q2, that's 40 units, and 50 minus 40, that's 10. Then I'll find my change in P. So this formula, you use it when you're calculating the price elasticity of a product using the percentage method. So I'll say my change in P is equals to P1 minus P2. My P1, that's 100 minus my P2, that's 500. 100 minus 500, that's negative 400. So I'll say EP is equals to my change in Q, that's 10, over my change in P, that's negative 400. Then I'll say my P1, that's 100 divided by my Q1, that's 500. That's 50, sorry. Then I can cancel out some zeros. After I've done that, I'll say 1 multiplied by 1, that's 1. Negative 4 multiplied by 5, that's negative 20. So I'll just transpose it this side. So I'll say EP is equals to 1 divided by negative 20, that's negative 0.05. So my final answer is 0.05. The negative just represents the law of demand, which means there's a negative relationship, and my EP here is less than 1.